there is just something about this franchise that makes you, after you see each movie, at least for me, after you see each of these movies, you want to get in your car and just do something like off the wall. But, you know, just you have to ignore that impulse. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not as fun as it looks in these movies, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I've seen the latest movie, and I gotta say, I was surprised of how much I enjoyed it because, going into this, like prior to watching it, I was thinking, do we really need another one? I mean, because the sequels that have come before this one, like I would say, like after they reunited Dom and Brian, sometime after that, it seemed like they didn't know what else to do with it. Like after, like around when like after Fast Five, it seemed like they didn't really know what they wanted to do. And I'm like, okay, I'm kind of ready for this franchise to be over. It seemed like it was dragging. It seemed like it was dragging on its feet, like from Fast Five to Furious Seven. Like even with the titles alone, you knew that they were running out of ideas. Like, what's with these really bad, really bad movie titles? But this movie title is probably the best movie title for a sequel, like in this franchise. I mean, The Fate of the Furious. I mean, that's enough to get you ready and pumped for this movie. And this movie does live up to the hype. It really does. But I do have to say, the opening scene, like where there is a race sequence, um, that and I gotta say, like by the end of the sequence, I was thinking to myself, okay, Dom should be in the hospital. He should be in the hospital after that. I mean, like after what happens at the end of the race, I'm like, okay, like shouldn't you be like having? You should have like at least a broken leg or a broken arm or something. Like I don't know, like a concussion or something. But no, nothing. I mean, that's not the first time they've done that in these movies, like where the characters are doing something really crazy and then they should be badly injured afterwards. So this is no different. They're still carrying on that tradition, and I have to say, um, Cipher, like I don't know about you guys. I mean, if you've seen this movie yet, but I think that she is the best villain they that they ever faced, and I don't know. There's just something about her where I can take her more seriously, and she is pretty intimidating too. And how she gets Dom, to under her thumb, like how she gets Dom to turn against everybody else. I mean, it's just wow. I'll say I didn't see that coming, but I'll say that later. Like I'll save that spoiler for later after I give you my final thoughts on the movie. So if you have not seen the movie, you may not want to hear that spoiler. So this is gonna be spoiler free up until I tell you what that spoiler is. Now, and I gotta say, there's one scene where there's one sequence like where there's a car falling out of a building, and then the camera shot where it looks like you're actually in the car, like where you're actually your head's outside of the car, where it's in the passenger side, and it's in that shot the whole time as the car's falling out of the building. Like I saw this in 2D. I didn't see this in IMAX 3D or any of that. I saw it in regular 2D, and I felt anxiety in that shot where it was just like, and it was going around and around and around in that shot the whole time. I was like, I felt dizzy and I felt anxiety at the same time. I'm like, oh my gosh. But I actually enjoyed that that shot, you know, gave me, how it left me with that kind of experience. But and I have to say that Hobbs, as goofy as he does have leadership quality to him. and like I mean, like, he's very cartoony, and I have to say he is very cartoony, and and the things that he says in this movie, I can't nitpick with it too much because I love laughter and I love the humor that he brings to the franchise. But I was afraid that it would be too much to where the drama is basically not, it's hard to find, you know, like with all the with his humor that he brings. But I think it's balanced out. I think it's balanced out, even though they could have toned down a little bit of his humor, but it was still pretty well balanced overall. And there is something that he says to Decker where he says something about punching his teeth down his throat, and you just have to hear the rest of that statement for yourself because it's my favorite one-liner that he's ever said, probably ever. You have to hear it for yourself. Trust me. And what else? And I have to say, you know, I mean, I know that Paul Walker passed away. I mean, like, you know, like rest, like God rest his soul. But I would have, I don't know. I mean, like, it's still not believable that he would not, like, I don't know. I'll save that later for when I do the spoiler talk. But yeah, and I gotta say, I mean, Rome is such a whiner. I think he's even a bigger whiner in this movie than he has been in the other movies, and it's colorful whining, and Tyrese plays that. You know, he brings that to the character really well, where it's not annoying, but it's just very, very laughable. Every time that he has something to say and he's bitching about something, it's funny. I mean, it doesn't annoy me. I just find it very hilarious. And but this movie had a really pretty awesome plot, and what Cypher had over Dom, I mean, it was done really well, and it's actually the first time they had a sequel where it had an idea, they knew where to go with it, and it had an awesome title to carry on with it too, and it lived up to the hype for me. And I did not expect to be, to be satisfied. I knew I was going to be entertained and like it, but I did not expect to like it much more than I anticipated. And that's what happens when you don't expect, good things to happen. You get rewarded with, you just get something rewarding out of that for keeping your expectations at bay. And that's what happened when I went into this movie, and I walked out satisfied. So, without all being said, I have to give this 4 solid chair spins out of 5. So, count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4 solid chair spins. Okay, now I'm gonna get into spoilers. So, get away from this video if you have not seen the movie. Go see the movie and then come on back and hear what I have to say right here in the spoiler talk. Okay, now that is your warning. Now, so it turns out that Cypher kidnapped. She didn't kidnap Brian or Mia or her kids or any of that, but she actually kidnapped Elena. And next thing you know, she is with child. Like, she has, she is basically Dom got her pregnant, and we see her son there with her, and they kind of hinted at that, at that happening of Dom being the father, like that, like where him and Letty were talking about, having kids. So they were kind of preparing us for this little twist, and I gotta say, it's a pretty good twist. I did not see that coming. I was expecting Mia to be there, to be held captive or whatever, and she somehow killed Brian, and that's why we don't see him trying to, go out there and help the team get Dom, just to get Dom back and put a stop to Cypher's madness. I mean, yeah, I get it. Paul Walker passed away, but I mean, they left his character alive, and it's not believable to me that he would not stand by and not want to go out there and basically pull Dom back from the brink and help the team, stop Cypher and get him back to where he belongs with his family. And but at least Letty was not willing to give up on him, not for a second, not for 1 second. And that's the kind of chick a man should appreciate, definitely. Now, and they had another tribute to Paul Walker where Dom introduces his son to to everybody, and he says, "Everybody, I want you to meet," and you felt it coming. You felt this coming, and then he names him Brian. I thought maybe Elena was gonna name him Dom Jr. or something like that, but I guarantee you, if Paul Walker was still alive and he was here, in this movie, I'm pretty sure that he would have named that kid Vince instead. I'm pretty sure that he would have named him now. Like, everybody, I want you to meet Vince. But in the sequence with Decker, like where Decker saves little Brian, and everyone's trying to stop him and trying to kill him and everything, and it's heartwarming. Like, I can say that he clearly redeemed himself from where he killed Han, back in in Fast and Furious 6. He went from that to saving Dom's son, so I guess that earns him a place with them, I guess. And then Decker's brothers, they let him out of prison, and they team up, against Cypher, and so that leaves an opening for them to come back and to help the team out as well, because Cypher she escaped. So I'm glad that they did not kill her off. I mean, she's my favorite villain in this franchise, so I'm looking forward to seeing more of her in the next movie. So they got like maybe 2 or 3 more movies coming up here. So this movie made me look forward to those movies coming around. So hopefully they keep this up and they don't go back to where they're like out of ideas, like with Fast, like Fast and Furious 6 and Furious 7, where it's just like where it just feels kind of jumbled. But this feels like the best movie since they reunited all of the characters together. This is the best sequel since they reunited Brian and Dom and other supporting characters from Tokyo Drift and Too Fast, Too Furious, put them all together. This was the best since they've done that. And I'm still surprised of how satisfied I was. They were on the verge of losing their mojo, and they're on the verge of where their groove is starting to decay, but they just put it right back, all back together. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. So if you guys enjoyed my review on this movie, make sure you thumb up the video. Make sure you click subscribe if you're a newbie to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out, y'all.